Hello, I'm Richard Folland from the think tank Carbon Tracker Initiative, and we're delighted to be co-hosting with the University of Barcelona the Economics and Data Workstream as part of the Global Science and Policy Conference in Santa Marta, and in advance of the first ever international conference on transitioning away from fossil fuels. Economics and data are core to a viable roadmap to phase out fossil fuels. Our workstream will address some key issues for policymakers, especially for those involved with economic policy planning. The enabling conditions of economics and finance, as singled out in the Belém Declaration, underpin all policy decisions, as does the data required by governments as they face up to the huge challenge of transitioning from a high carbon to a low carbon economy. And this is why reducing economic dependence on the use of fossil fuels is one of the three major pillars of the international conference. Let me now introduce you to my colleague Fatima Eisam Eldeen from the University of Barcelona, who will tell you more about our workstream.
Thanks, Richard. The Economics and Data Workstream is divided into 3 workshops and will have active participation. At the first workshop, we plan to set the scene with presentations about the state of the transition. In the second one, we will have case studies from both Global North and Global South to examine how countries can take forward the transition within their differing circumstances. And last but not least, the third workshop will focus on data, starting with an expert panel. All 3 workshops will end with discussions where we invite all participants to take an active part. We have a series of exam questions for the workstream. These are to enable us to focus on the outputs which can be fed into the intergovernmental conference and support and inform the ongoing work of the Coalition of the Willing. Some of these questions are: is the transition away from fossil fuels already underway and irreversible? What economic barriers are slowing the transition away from fossil fuels, and how can these be best removed? How can an oil and gas producer in the global north show a pathway to phase out? How can the reduction of global energy use inequities contribute to the fossil fuel phase out? What are the economic, environmental, and social trade-offs? What does the data tell us about the size and timing of fossil fuel dependency, of the economic costs, and what does it tell us about the economic opportunities? And how can the data strengthen the articulation of trade-offs in order to garner popular and political support for urgent planning and action? Self-evidently, consideration of these fundamental questions will be central to how governments plan and implement the transition nationally and internationally. The aim for our Economics and Data Workstream is to provide both innovative and practical ideas which the Coalition of the Willing can pick up and address in Santa Marta and afterwards as this important process goes forward.